Now imagine, if you will, that your attempt to bring back a beloved sci-fi television series via a backdoor pilot TV movie wasn't as successful as you planned, but you remembered that there have been other ways to continue your series that work as possible alternatives, and they have worked before. So you take back the publishing rights to said TV series and launch a new line of adventures of your popular time and space traveling hero. Say hello to the Eighth Doctor Adventures. No, not those ones, they won't have existed yet, I think. The BBC novel range, with the TV movie failing to meet the expectations from the American audience to greenlight a new series, thanks Obama, Doctor Who would yet again survive in the form of novels. Taking the rights back from Virgin Publishing, the BBC created the Eighth Doctor Adventures to continue the adventures of the Eighth Doctor. It's in the title. And to kick off this new range of novels is a story written by the legendary Terrance Dicks that sees the Eighth Doctor meet his 7 predecessors. What could possibly go wrong? Possibly go wrong. That's the first thing that's ever gone wrong. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back to the ever-popular OZChris's book club thing. Sorry, it's been a while for these. I foreshadowed it in the Time Worm Genesis video. I did record a video, like a review of the 8 Doctors, but then I trashed it and then took it out of the trash and repurposed it for this. So, yes, some time ago I had started the 8th Doctor Adventures range, the BBC 8th Doctor Adventure range, starting with The 8 Doctors by Terrance Dicks. And it seems like they looked at what Virgin did with the new adventures and thought, let's kind of make a similar mistake with the book that kickstarts our range, because The 8 Doctors, while it's not egregiously as bad for like a lot of wrong reasons like Time Worm Genesis is, The 8 Doctors is also not a good way to start off this whole new line of adventures of the 8th Doctor. So continuing on from literally like after the events of the TV movie, the Doctor is given amnesia again. It's a trap laid by the Master where he gives the Doctor amnesia. So again, we just came from the TV movie where the Doctor for a brief period was suffering from amnesia, and they decide, let's do it again. Yes, and this is from the legendary writer Terrance Dicks. Unfortunately, this is where the whole amnesia thing kind of starts. So because of this, the recurring just meme and theme of the 8th Doctor getting amnesia, I would say, I think this is where they really started to like, yeah, this is just going to be his one constant character trait, is that he will just get amnesia at some point. Because it apparently happens later on in the 8th Doctor Adventures. It's happened a few times in the Big Finish audio series as well. The 8th Doctor just loves forgetting. I don't blame him sometimes. I love forgetting stuff as well. Very cringe memories of youth. But yeah, so the 8th Doctor gets amnesia, is guided by a voice which is revealed to be Rassilon, to search, to look for his past selves, to regain his memories. Now, you can point out a flaw with this. The 8th Doctor doesn't need to search for every past self, every one of them. He could literally just go to 7 and then like that's it. But to overcome this very obvious flaw that can be solved, Terrance Dicks has written that he doesn't get all of his memories instantly when he meets a past incarnation. As he travels, it starts to reach to certain points of that incarnation's life. as it gets closer and closer, it reaches to like the end of their incarnation until when he meets Seven, he gets all of his memories back. He's also written that the Eighth Doctor is very kind of integral to some important moments of each Doctor's life. So with the first Doctor, he's the one that stops him from killing a caveman. For the second Doctor, he is vital in like you have to give this inspiring speech as your defense against the Time Lords at the end of the War Games. Like, so apparently without the Eighth Doctor, the second Doctor wouldn't have come up with that speech to justify his reasons for interference. It's like, okay, great. The fourth Doctor would have literally died if the Eighth Doctor didn't give him a blood transfusion. I don't know how that would work. That's such a weird thing. The Sixth Doctor would have been charged as guilty because the Valeyard throws the trial into an alternate timeline, so the Eighth Doctor has to go with like a separate like aberration of the Sixth Doctor to convince the High members, some Time Lords, to kind of overthrow the High Council, whatever, or investigate them because they know the trial is a sham and that the High Council had ulterior motives. They also bring back Barusa. Remember Barusa, guys? Remember the 5 Doctors? Terrance Dicks reminds you, because another central thing with a lot of these stories is that Terrance Dicks had some involvement with it. If either he was like a script editor, a producer, or wrote the stories himself. Like, aside from obviously An Unearthly Child, and I would also say The Trial of a Time Lord, he wrote only the novelization of The Mysterious Planet, whereas the part in the trial that the Sixth Doctor is in is very clearly the end of Terror of the Vervoids, or the beginning of The Ultimate Foe, and just an alternate direction to it. And for the Seventh Doctor, he had, I don't know, for the Seventh Doctor, he just decided he's just going to go to Metebelis 3, because I don't know, well, why not? The stories themselves, like him meeting the Doctors, no, that's a nice little kind of gimmick, but nope, a lot of them aren't particularly interesting or noteworthy. The Eighth Doctor himself, because they give him amnesia again, he is once again a blank slate. So he's just, by the numbers, just generic Doctor. He's just a good guy, and a lot of them, especially if it's past companions, know like he's quite attractive. I mean, don't blame them. Paul McGann, he's a handsome man. I get it. But I don't know. Has anyone ever seen Colin Baker? Adonis. Apart from that, there is also the introduction for who would be the Eighth Doctor's companion for this range, which would be Sam Jones, and it is also possibly the worst introduction for a companion because she is at the beginning of the book, then the end of the book. So there's no kicking off of like 8 and Sam being together to justify like her becoming a companion, wanting to travel with them. It's just at the end of the book, to evade the police, and because she kind of figures out the Doctor is an alien and possibly like a time traveler, she kind of forces her way into the TARDIS as be like, hey, you owe me a travel. And it's like, who are you? We've literally just met you. We hardly know anything about you. Yeah, honestly, not the worst start to a book range. Time Worm Genesis will always have that. But it's such a bland one. And just like, again, given the Eighth Doctor amnesia, again, yawn. Contrived reasons for him to travel back in time and meet his previous selves, yawn. Sam Jones's introduction, yawn. Then it's revealed like Rassilon had like reasons to do this, and I'm guessing it's not until like a future novel that it's explained, because it's not explained here why he does it. Is like, oh, made some had you do a few changes to the timeline. Why? Why? Like, there's more questions than answers in this book, and it's supposed to be, yeah, sure, it's like the first book of this range. It's supposed to kickstart everything off, but like, I get why. Of the ones that I've read, because I'm currently up to Alien Bodies. I've heard a lot of good things about this. This is when shit really gets into gear, apparently, with Alien Bodies. Of the Eighth Doctor novels I've read, would probably be on the bottom of the list, because it's just such a average, just kind of bland story with a lot of like questionable decisions. Not questionably bad like Time Worm, Genesis, just questionable as like, why would you do this for the start of this range? Luckily, the next book, Vampire Science, like runs tables around this. So yeah, like Vampire Science is just so good. It tweak it a bit, and it would have been a much better introduction for Sam Jones, because she's a much better character in Vampire Science, and her dynamic with the Eighth Doctor is a bit more kind of somewhat fleshed out more in Vampire Science. And then on the topic, the other novels, Body Snatchers, wasn't a big fan of. I thought it was fine. Genocide had some really interesting concepts. I like the whole like moral dilemma that the Eighth Doctor has thrown in. Like, I have to correct history, and it's not even like I need to find an alternative, because if I correct history, this very peaceful race doesn't exist anymore, and that's really bad because they're really peaceful and they seem to be nice. He just goes straight up, I need to fix history. I don't care that it possibly just erases this peaceful like race that have replaced humanity. Whereas I feel like Eighth Doctor, like maybe like current Big Finish, would be a bit torn. Whereas like this one, it seems like, yeah, it's somewhat of like an evolution of the Seventh Doctor, where it's just like, for some certain scenarios, he will give people a chance, but if they don't take the chance, then he will go with the then he will pull the trigger, so to speak. He will go with the worst option if it's the only option available. So I did like Genocide. War of the Daleks, half of that was just so boring. Half of that was so boring until they get to Skaro. Then it's like, okay, now it's kind of interesting again. But yes, I'm on Alien Bodies now. Excited. But yes, the 8 Doctors. Again, not the best way to start a new range of adventures for the incumbent Doctor at the time. But that is it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you have read the 8 Doctors, what were your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one. Ciao.